The U.S. state of Hawaii was sent into a panic on Saturday when an emergency message went out to cell phones there, warning of an impending ballistic missile strike.
Ballistic missile threat inbound to Hawaii. Seek immediate shelter. This is not a drill.
I regret because I accept responsibility for this. I deeply apologize for the trouble and heartbreak that we caused today. We've spent the last few months trying to get ahead of this whole threat so that we could provide as much notification and preparation time to the public. Today was something that I regret because I accept responsibility for this. This is my team. We made a mistake. We're going to take processes and study this so that this doesn't happen again. Our focus now, of course, is not to have any more false alarms going out. And by doing this, we're working on procedures that have already been implemented. First of all, the governor has directed that we hold off any more tests until we get this squared away.
I'm going to say that the old process was no redundancy. We've implemented changes already to assure that it becomes a redundant process so that it won't be a single individual. There'll be at least two people that would be involved to initiate the alert.
The message told people to seek immediate shelter. This is not a drill. It turned out to be a false alarm. Someone clicked the wrong thing, according to a spokesperson for the Hawaii Emergency Management Agency. But the warning wasn't called off for almost another 40 minutes. The false alarm has caused outrage in the state, and the governor has apologized. Officials have reportedly changed the procedure for issuing such a warning, and the possibility of a real missile strike has been more of a concern than usual in Hawaii lately, as North Korea tests missiles that would put the islands within range.
Trying to get down to the bottom of exactly what happened, why it happened. We want to play you some sound that we have from the Hawaiian governor saying it was, in fact, a wrong button that was pushed. Listen.
Good morning. Early this morning, an error was made and a false alarm was sent to cell phones and to TV and radio. We investigated, and as soon as we became aware that it was an error, we took action to send the notification that it was a false alarm. This should not have happened. We are investigating the sequence of events that occurred. An error was made in emergency management, which allowed this false alarm to be sent.
Good afternoon. Thank you for joining us on this Saturday afternoon for this special report. At about 8 o'clock this morning, Hawaii emergency management officials mistakenly sent out a text alert that read, "Ballistic missile threat inbound to Hawaii. Seek immediate shelter. This is not a drill." 38 minutes later, emergency officials confirmed there is no threat to Hawaii. Subsequently, Governor Ige Vern Miyagi, the Hawaii Emergency Management Agency administrator, and the U.S. Army held a joint press conference. They said it was a mistake made at the Emergency Management Agency, allowing this false alarm to be sent. Now, we're awaiting another press conference that will get underway in just a few minutes. But to further tell you what was said during that first press conference, Mr. Miyagi said it was regrettable that the false alarm went out. It will not happen again. He took full responsibility, although it was said that someone who was working there were 3 people there at a time. 3 people, 3 shifts. And at about the time of the shift change, it was inadvertently sent. It was a mistake. The cancellation notice would normally go out right away. There is a cancellation process. However, that did not happen, and Miyagi, at the time of the press conference, could not answer why it did not go out. Now, the Hawaii Emergency Management Agency is a coordinating agency between Hawaii's 4 county emergency management agencies. Now, it is a state warning point, and when it is when there is an alert to be sent, it can connect also to more than 22,000 emergency managers around the country and to the National Weather Service. That said, this alert, this false alarm, did go out around Hawaii, but soon found out, whether they found out from the alert or not, around the world, the country. And we have been getting a lot of interest as well from other news outlets as to getting answers, which we hope to get at this press conference. Some of the remaining, and there are many, but some of the remaining questions are, why didn't the cancellation go out right away? What happened? Why did it take 38 minutes for the false alarm to be sent? There are other ways. There are counting nixels. There are police alerts. There are other ways to get the message out. Was there a problem with the technical part of the system that did not allow them to send out the cancellation? There were some sirens that went off. We were called by someone in Wahiawa who said that the siren did go off there. Many, of course, did not hear a siren. So what is the connection with the siren and with such an alert? What you're looking at right now is in Waikiki. Now, many visitors may not be signed up for this alert, but of course, many of the workers there, as you saw, someone on the beach, a lifeguard, did get alerts, and so they were letting the visitors know. And we spoke with some of the visitors and the locals in Waikiki this morning. We'd like to hear their reaction.
You think it's a drill, you don't think it's not a drill, so there was a bit of panic in the hotel. A lot of people running out. We're at the outrigger Waikiki. A lot of people dashed out of the restaurant into the street. There was a few people upset.
People are in a panic. They're running out of the hotel and people are being told to stay in the hotel. It's the safest place in the hotel.
A little bit of a panic. Everybody was chilling at first. And then, next thing you know, just everybody's phones went off one time. And there was a chaos. Stories booked it. They left the beach. My workers left me. He was shaking his hand like, oh. He was so scared.
Oh, there was no one on the streets after like a couple minutes. Everyone like left. They all ran into the buildings and stuff. Oh, thank God. You're calling all your parents, telling them you love them. Oh my God.
I saw a few tears out here this morning, but for the most part, people look more just like dazed, kind of wondering around what to do.
That was the governor of Hawaii giving us a statement there. You can only imagine, what's happening with the person who hit that button. Let's go ahead and bring in Brian Yanis, who's been following this story for us. Hi, Brian.
Hi, Laura. I think it's important that we kind of put this in perspective here. The Hawaii Emergency Management Agency has about a 30-slide presentation that's on their website, and it's called Emergency Preparedness. And in that, it goes details into what would happen if there were to be a nuclear attack on Hawaii from North Korea. If we pull up this slide, just to give people an idea, remember there were 38 minutes between when that message was sent and when it was a correction that was sent that it was a false alarm. But look, the launch to impact only takes 20 minutes from North Korea to Hawaii, and this is the process in which it's supposed to happen. If there were ever to be a launch, the U.S. Pacific Command in Hawaii sends a message to the state warning point, which is the Hawaii Emergency Preparedness. They then, in the first 5 minutes, are then, there's defenses that are sent, notifications are sent, and then between 5 and 10 minutes, the sirens go off, an emergency alert system goes off on the televisions and the radio and on the phone, and within 10 to 20 minutes of that launch, that is when folks are supposed to take action. And I think it's important here to realize just how little time people have in the event of something like this. So for 38 minutes to have gone by, given the fact that there's only really 10 to 15 minutes for people to actually build into this, for people to actually to respond to a ballistic missile, is scary to say the least. I think it's also important to reiterate and underscore the point that we've heard from representatives and senators from Hawaii who say that, look, they only have minutes to take action and that there are no designated blast or fallout shelters in Hawaii at all. There's no federal funding for them. And so when people are told to take action, it is quite literally the Hawaii preparedness plan for people to stay indoors, stay away from windows. If you're driving, to pull off to the side and go into a nearby building, or literally to lay flat on the ground. And I think, again, that is the official emergency management plan if something like this were to happen. I think it's also important to note that part of the Hawaii's emergency plan is a monthly siren test that's supposed to occur the first working day of every month at 11:45 in the morning. And look, what we've heard from the White House was that the White House says that this was something that was planned by the state, that this was purely a state exercise. But the only thing we've been able to find in terms of something that is clearly planned is a statewide siren test. And even when that happens, that is something that's given with notification. People know that a test is going to happen. It is an alert that's sent out for 50 seconds. It pauses for 10 seconds, and then the alarm goes off for 50 seconds. So what I'm trying to say is, though, when the state does have a monthly test on its sirens, it's planned out. People know what's going to happen at the first of every month. It lasts for about a little over 2 minutes. It doesn't last for 38 minutes, and a frightening amount of time, given that people are told that a launch to impact only takes 20 minutes. So I think a lot of people have their eyes open right now as to the lack of, they have the plan, but the lack of options that are for people in the advent of a possible ballistic missile attack. We're also seeing tweets from people. John Peterson, who was in Hawaii, he says that in reaction to receiving this incredible message on his phone, he says, quote, "Under mattresses in the bathtub with my wife, baby, and in-laws. Please, Lord, let this bomb threat not be real." Another person who tweeted, Jillian, "Sheltered in place in our bathroom with our pets, but I was sobbing the whole time trying to get East Coast family on the phone." And we have a tweet also from Brian Schatz, who is a senator in Hawaii. Again, false alarm. What happened today is totally inexcusable. The whole state was terrified. There needs to be tough and quick accountability and a fixed process. So obviously a scare, but I think more questions right now as to this state exercise that the White House is saying that the state was going through some sort of exercise. We can see that with the siren tests that there have always been some sort of notice about those tests. In this case, clearly something went way off and way wrong here, and I think there's going to be a lot more questions moving forward.
Brian, when you bring up what exactly the plan is supposed to be for the fine folks of Hawaii and those visiting, just the idea that the plan is to lay flat on the ground, get away from the windows, you're right. You bring up a lot of really important issues that you found there with the state of Hawaii. Thank you for bringing that to everyone's attention. We'll continue to follow that part of the story as well. Brian Yennis for us in our New York newsroom.